Woo! What's going on, guys? Orange Form coming at you guys with another video. And today's video, we're going into some Lions observations from OTAs. This is phase 2 of OTAs. They had phase 1 last week. It was like 3 days. The media got to go in there for, I believe, 1 day, 1 or 2 days. So we got that, and then this one is phase 2. It's day 6 officially today, but this is really only day 5 news. Haven't really seen too much of day 6 via the internet, the intraweb, like we like to call it. But it's pretty much day 5, day 6. Haven't really got into it, so that's today, obviously, and hopefully we'll get some more into that. But this is from guys like John Macaron, Tim Twentyman, Jeremy Reisman, Jeff Risden's in there, Christian Booher, who does I believe it was the Lone Wolves podcast, does that with John Macaron. It's a pretty good listen. I try to listen to that as much as I can. And these are the OTAs. Now remember, no pads, helmets only. No real physical contact. We're not seeing any of that right now. And remember, it's voluntary too as well. Okay, this is pretty much all voluntary work. But the D's getting more aggressive out there. The offense is getting a lot of spotlight lately, and the D wants to make some noise. So that's happening right now, which is a good sign for the defense. We'll talk about some things too. So I kind of wrote everything kind of jumbled up. So if I repeat myself, I'm sorry. But there will be probably some things repeated. Gilmore did have a pick 6 off Hendon Hooker. Arnold did pick off Jared Goff, ripped the ball pretty much out of J-Mo's hands. Couldn't see the ball, so I didn't see any video of it, so I don't know if it was literally ripped out of his hands, but I think it was just both their hands were there, and Arnold made a nice play. But the chemistry is going on with J-Mo and Goff. That's getting bigger. The scuffle broke out. Skipper was on the ground. Levi and Wuzarique's helmet ripped off. No real culprits, though. Happened a couple times, and Dan Campbell did have to step in and kind of like get his boys together. Fighting's okay. Getting aggressive with each other. You don't want to make it a everyday occurrence, though. There's nothing wrong with getting into it. It happens in every single camp at all 32 football teams, and we've had a few, obviously, and Campbell has addressed it. It's not an issue as of right now, but it's just guys being competitive. And then one of the big things too, there was no participating. This was mainly Thursday, so no Christian Mahogany out there. No real explanation. Didn't see why. The rookie we drafted out of Boston College. No left tackle Taylor Decker. Center Frank Ragnow. Guard Kevin Zeitler. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs. Nose tackle DJ Reader, kind of still rehabbing from the quad injury. Outside linebacker Marcus Davenport, same with him. He's kind of rehabbing. Cornerback Carlton Davis, no real news on that. Linebacker Alex Anzalone. DB Brian Branch, he had that cleanup on his ankle. Safety Kerber Joseph, he had that hip thing going on, hip surgery. Wide receiver Antoine Green. Mahogany, like I said. Defensive tackle Kyle Pico. Emmanuel Mosley, who's not going to be ready for a while. Cornerback Craig James. And remember, mandatory minicamp starts next week, so we're going to get into some. Most of these guys will probably be back. A lot of these guys are probably taking it easy, especially the vets like Decker, Ragnow, Zeitler. Not sure what's going on with Gibbs. We'll talk about him a little bit down the road, though. With those scuffles too, because I'm kind of repeating myself too, but with those scuffles, Hutch did have. He was asked about it. What's going on? With the fighting on day 5 or whatever it was. He's like, we're just changing the mindset on the D. Like I said, I think, the defense is kind of like taking a backseat to the offense. Had a great run defense last year, a terrible pass defense. Didn't get a lot of sacks. Hutch was the only sack guy, really. Secondary was terrible play from the secondary. Kind of goes hand in hand with the defensive line. The secondary, though, they got to be a cohesive unit. They got to be in unison, and things can be productive. You get your sacks, you get your turnovers, you get balls batted down with the defensive line and the linebackers. They help out their secondary right there. So especially in the pass defense. So Hutch is out there saying we're changing our mindset. They're really aggressive out there. Hooker looking a little more comfortable. Did have that pick 6. Campbell said he had a better day on Wednesday. the media was kind of blocked off on there. And then up and down on Thursday, missed a couple throws over the middle though. Up and down from last week too. Hooker was up and down last week, and he's just starting to get, his juices going anyway. So I don't expect him to come out of the gate flying, making every single throw. I'm expecting him to get a lot of rust off, even though he was available later in the year last year. This is his first true camp, OTAs, and mini camps and mandatory training camp coming up soon, or mini camp again, whatever. But he did have a couple throws over the middle that he missed. Showed some great touch on a pass to running back James Funk, though, down the sidelines. And then hit a tight window throw to wide receiver Darius Fountain. Darius Fountain's kind of making some plays out there, too. Looks like he's one of Hooker's favorite guys out there. And then Hooker getting all the number 2 reps so far. It looked like on day 5, maybe day 6, don't know. But that was what was available to the reporters, the guys like Macaron and Risden and Tim Twentyman and Reisman, all those guys kind of saying the same thing, that they're literally trying to give this, it seems like they're really trying to make Hooker win this QB2 battle. And I don't think it's going to be a battle. If it's a battle, it's a little worrisome, but it's super early. Because I don't think anybody thinks Nate Sudfeld's going to be our quarterback too. But stranger things have happened. Now the Goff to JMO, again, the chemistry is building. Goff is looking for him. He is going to be wide receiver 2 here. He's taking that role of Josh Reynolds. They'll put a little spin on some of those routes and what he does in this offense. He's a different kind of receiver than Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds was more of a possession guy. Had a little bit of speed on him, but he was more possession, moved the chains. And Goff was relying on him. Goff loved him. He looked towards him with the familiarity back in LA. They just, they had a little bit of chemistry there, and Goff is looking for JMO right now. So the trust is there. Ben Johnson's trusting him, and he's been looking good, JMO. Couple drops here and there, but you could just see the explosion. You can see how good of a wide receiver he can be for this offense. 7-on-7, there was a deep touchdown from Goff, right around the right sideline. Kindle Vildor in coverage. Vildor's in trouble, by the way, kind of off topic, but he's a little bit in trouble. A guy that I'll talk about a little bit down the road. And then another 29-yard pass to set up a field goal to JMO as well. That set up a field goal, and I think field goal attempt, I don't know, I think it might have been missed. We'll talk about that in a bit too. Amon-Ra St. Brown, what can I say? He's in midseason form already. What else? What else is new? There's video evidence out there. I've seen a couple short reels, like little reels where I couldn't tell who he beat. On the one, it was a nice little touchdown. He kind of juked out the corner. Nice touchdown throw. I think it was Goff that threw it, and I couldn't tell. It looked like it might have been Melifonwu. It looked like a bigger corner. And then the second one, it looked like he kind of just outmaneuvers Terrion Arnold, the rookie out of Alabama. It looks like it might have been Arnold. Can't tell though, but he was wide open. You see Jack Campbell kind of coming in from the outside. Obviously, Jack Campbell is not going to be really trying to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. That has happened in practice, but this looked like it was either a 7-on-7 or 11-on-11. So Jack Campbell's not supposed to be on, and that's a total mismatch. But whatever it was, St. Brown slides out to the left, wide open touchdown, and you see St. Brown just chuck the ball as far as he can. In a little bit of celebratory formation right there. Now there's guys. Okay, now back to the kicking competition a little bit too. It's all over the place. Badgley apparently hit 8 in a row or something like that from 53 and out at one point. But he did miss both his field goal attempts in situational ball. Short on the 54-yarder and wide right on the 52. James Turner, the kid out of Michigan that they brought in as a UDFA, he made both kicks. So do we have a kicking competition all of a sudden? We might. Is there a Jake Bates in the future from the Michigan Panthers? We might have that too. Who knows? But it has been noted that Badgley has gained kicking power in his leg. He worked on it all off season, but he's missed the last couple days apparently. But I don't think his job's in total jeopardy yet, unless they sign this Bates kid, which I don't know if they will. Now the stock up and stock down. This is mostly from guys like Christian Boer. The stock up, Terrion Arnold, he's making plays out there. He has a swagger to him. He's got 2 picks already, one in rookie minicamp and one in these OTAs. So he looks like a guy that is going to make this team. Obviously, he's going to make the team, but he looks like a guy that can bounce back if he has a rough day. And he has a lot of swagger to him. He's got a real bright demeanor about him. He's boisterous. He's got high energy. He's infectious. They like guys like this, man. He's kind of giving me right now Brian Branch vibes from last year. Kind of giving me those kind of vibes, making plays, not surprisingly, but just being out there and making some plays, which kind of gives me the Branch vibes. And then wide receiver Khalif Raymond, he's a very trustworthy player from Jared Goff and Ben Johnson. Those two guys are big on trust, and he's looking more and more like he's going to be able to looking more and more solid, like he could maybe slide in as that number 2 if needed be. I still think he's going to be the number 3 here. Khalif Raymond, borderline number 4. Borderline number 3, 4 at worst. But, him and DPJ are probably going to fight it out right there. And don't forget about Anton Green, but he did miss some time. And then linebacker Mitchell Agude is a young player on the Dolphins last year. Put some numbers up as a college guy, not a crazy amount, but he has some decent numbers in college. He can get to the quarterback. They're kind of comparing him a little bit to James Houston a bit with his pass rushing skills. So we'll see what happens there. And he's playing some little bit of Sam linebacker on the short side. And then, down, the stock being down, cornerback Kindle Vildor, like I talked about earlier. He's looking rough out there. He's been getting beat since camp, since the OTAs. Well, that's going on right now, since rookie mini camp, since all this is going on. We keep reading his name on the internet, but nothing really in a positive way. So it's going to be tough for Kindle to gain, a roster spot, I think, here. Levi Onwuzurike, the defensive tackle, D lineman. It's make or break kind of player. It's now or never. They bring in guys like DJ Reader is going to play the nose, projected as a starter anyways. Makai Wingo that they brought in from LSU that they drafted in the 6th round could be a guy that maybe takes over his spot. He could steal some reps from him, and then Broderick Martin, the 3rd round pick from last year, could be a guy that could emerge, and then Levi's the odd man out, but he needs a lot of work, and he needs to really show up in camp, or he could be a camp cut. And then running back Jamar Jefferson, Reynolds is entrenched as the RB3. Sione Vaikai kind of pushing him right there. The guy's a rookie too, looking solid, especially out of the backfield, catching balls. Jamar needs to do something. He looked like he had a little bit of promise his rookie season where he had to come in for a few games, but then he ended up getting hurt. So, Jamar is on the bubble. Jamar's going to be a bubble guy, Levi a bubble guy, so their stocks are down. They need to get that back up. Now with the O-line, a lot of guys wrote, like I said, Ragnow, Decker, Zeitler. It looked like the O-line one was at least left tackle Dan Skipper, left guard Graham Glasgow, center Michael Neese. It looks like center Michael Neese has a pretty firm grasp on that backup center spot. You could hear for some guys like Kingsley Egwakin, the Florida kid. Keep an eye on him. There's a couple other guys too that you might want to keep an eye on, but that's the one guy. Kingsley's the one guy I'm looking at. And right guard Colby Sorslow, looks like he was moved from right tackle, left tackle to back to the guard spot where they had him as a rookie. But they're still trying to get him acclimated to back to tackle. And then left tackle Panay Sewell. Right tackle Panay Sewell. So those were the usual suspects, with a lot of guys out. We'll go with that. Only 2 real starters in Glasgow and Sewell. So everybody else is kind of getting their juices going. And then there's a cause for concern. I don't want to make everybody get all fired up, but running back Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't practiced much so far. He missed some time last week as well too. I don't know if he even practiced at all. He might have, but I don't know if he did. But he was on the sidelines. So we're not really seeing him. Is there an injury? We're not hearing about it really. At least I didn't hear about it. If anybody else did, let me know. Is there cause for concern? I'm not going to get too crazy about it, but it'd be nice to see him out there. But I understand he's going to get a bigger workload this year. They're expecting him to kind of take over Monty. I don't think it'll be a complete takeover, but they're gonna, he's gonna take over a bit, get more carries, and they're talking about him doing a lot of receiving work too, as well too. So maybe they're just trying to keep the kid healthy, which is a good thing too. But no more Scooter for Brian Branch. He did have the big boot on his foot though, but he was on the sidelines obviously. And outside linebacker James Houston was working with the trainers. Safety Kirby Joseph was working with the trainers too. James Houston's moving around pretty well. He's intense out there. And Joseph kind of taking it easy. He did have that hip surgery. So there's a couple guys banged up. Not a lot to be concerned about. Nobody missing any time during the season so far. No talk like that. The only guy that I think so far that's going to be a guaranteed missing the season will be Emmanuel Mosley. It looks like he's kind of on that same timeline as he was last year. Who knows when he'll be back? He was back, week 5 last year versus Carolina, and he played like 5 seconds, and then he ended up getting hurt. So we expect kind of that same timeline, maybe hopefully earlier. But he was out there running week 1, week 2. He wasn't out there. So they're taking it easy with him. Then limited guys like linebacker Derek Barnes. Barnes, he was limited last week, but he was out there. He did get hurt in the NFC Championship game, but he's been limited. And then cornerback Enos Rakestraw Jr., the rookie out of Missouri. And, he had that core injury, the groin, all that stuff. They're kind of taking it easy with the rook, too. And then a full go, guys that kind of missed the week before. Running back Zonovan Knight, tight end Sam Laporta, who missed all last week, and then cornerback Terry Arnold, the rookie out of Alabama. Those guys were good to go. Now the Canadian kid, Matthew Betts, he was, what was going on with him? It's Betts' time to shine. He's playing some Sam linebacker with Houston being limited and out. You get to see Betts a lot. Now he's dropping into coverage. That's a work in progress apparently. And then pass rush looks really good. 3 times he was watched intensely, and it looked like he had at least a sack out of those 3 times. And getting to the quarterback too, making those old linemen work. He's going to really need to show that in order to get noticed and to get a roster spot, to get a 53. So, so far they're at, the big question was too, who's going to be Hutch's number 2? Who's going to be his Robin? He's the Batman. Who's going to be his Robin? So far, it's very early. We're going into June. We're literally going into June, and it looks like it's Josh Pascal so far. Now this is all kind of guesswork from the reporters out there who are doing a great job, but it's looking like Josh Pascal right now is that defensive end, opposite bookend of Aiden Hutchinson. Someone's gonna have to step up. We don't really know who it is right now. Josh Pascal going on his 3rd year. I think he really needs to improve that pass rush. Plays the run extremely well. He'll make a splash play every 3 or 4 games, but that doesn't seem to be enough. But right now, there's nobody really taking over, and it looks like it's Pascal so far. It's only June. Now, Brendan Joseph's out there, too, with Iffy. Got to remember, at the free and the strong, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph on the sidelines, mending. They're trying to get healthy, so you're seeing Brandon Joseph, who was a UDFA. He played at Notre Dame a couple years, and he played at another school too. I can't remember, but he was a Notre Dame Fighting Irish guy, and if he kind of came on late in the year last year, so it's looking right now like Branch, the nickel cornerback, and a safety, and a potential safety filler, we're out. No wide receiver Antoine Green, like I kind of alluded to too. So it was Donovan Peoples-Jones and Raymond out there taking first team reps with Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and J-Mo. Amon-Ra being 1, J-Mo being 2. Still really trying to find that 3rd guy. I personally think it's going to be Khalif Raymond. I think he's going to win that 3 spot. Maybe it could be DPJ. He's a bigger wide receiver. He's quicker. I think Raymond's pretty fast though. I really don't know what their 40 times are. I know both can run. DPJ has shown that he can be that number 2 when he's back with Cleveland. He's had a couple decent seasons, one really good one actually, one good season and one kind of decent, so he's done it. Raymond has put up some numbers since being a Detroit Lion. He was kind of I don't want to say he was a nobody, but he wasn't really doing too much. He was with a bunch of other teams, Giants, Tennessee, Jets. He didn't really do a whole hell of a lot. Khalif Raymond with other teams until he came to Detroit, and then he started getting more comfortable with the offense. Now, according to guys like Jeremy Reisman, the run game, and he uses this word, run game looked lifeless. Remember, no pads, shorthanded O-line, no Zeitler, no Ragnow, no Decker. So there wasn't much going on. Several plays were blown up. No pads, so no contact really. It's hard to run in OTAs. It's hard to run with no pads on. You just don't really, I never felt comfortable, in just the shells, just the helmets, and running the football. I just never really felt comfortable with it. I always wanted to, hit somebody. I wanted to light someone up. It always felt different. So it was harder to get a run game going, harder for the offense. That's advantage defense all the way. And then, like I said earlier, Darius Fountain, the wide receiver's making some plays. He's a pure athlete, making leaping grabs, and it looks like Hendon Hooker is his guy right now. That's hopefully our future QB2, and it looks like he's looking his way a lot. And he did have a drop though, but he's turning some heads. The wide receiver, Caden Davis, another UDFA guy that they brought in, making plays as well. He had a nice contested deep ball shot that Khalil Dorsey was on him, and he beat him. And then I'm ending it with this guy, Amik Robinson, the cornerback that we brought in from the Las Vegas Raiders. He's then had another strong day. It's looking like he's kind of, I don't want to say entrenched, but it looks like he's playing a lot as a nickel corner right now. So it's going to be probably him and Rakestraw. Rakestraw has been like limited, as a rookie. I personally think Amik, if you watch his tape and you listen to Raiders fans or just anybody that talks about the Raiders, he was a better outside corner. And I kind of believe that in watching the film. I think it's real too, but he is a possible nickel cornerback guy. And they're going to have a better secondary this year, the Lions. But Amik, I think, is going to have to really turn heads at nickel, and Rakestraw too as well, to move Branch out of there and move him back to safety. Because it all depends with this Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, if they come back in time. Hopefully they do, but it looks like they're going to miss a little bit of time here and there. So we might see Branch moving back there. It just all depends. It just all depends what goes on with some injuries. We got a little bit, nothing to be alarmed about, but Joseph did have that hip surgery, and Branch did have that cleanup on the ankle. And if guys like Amik are gonna start pushing guys, start pushing. I'm not saying he's pushing Brian Branch out of a starting spot, but we might not have a choice but to bring back a guy like Branch back out there deep in the secondary as a safety. Just because of injuries and all this stuff, and guys kind of playing up. So it's something to keep an eye on. But Amik's out there playing well. It looks like he was a pretty good signing. Not going to say that this kid's a difference maker, but this kid has good depth, and he could possibly win a starting role either by default or just outplaying somebody, which is a good thing. This is what we want to see. You want to see guys succeed, and that's what he's doing right now. So I'll kind of ended it there, guys. 23 plus minutes. I really appreciate it. You guys coming in, trying to get the stuff out as quick as I can. I was hoping I was going to get more day 6. Most of this was day 5, if not all of it. And hopefully maybe get some day 6 tomorrow, and we can talk about that too. But thanks a lot, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Appreciate it, guys. One Pride, Detroit versus everybody. Let's go. Boom.